welcome to my one-handy kitchen. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make traditional English crumpets. Very easy indeed to make, and with the weather chilling down, just what we need. So here we go. In this bowl I have 225 grams of flour. I then have in this bowl a teaspoon of sugar and a teaspoon of salt, which I'm just going to pop in at the side there. I always make sure that I've got everything, because under these lights sometimes things sweat a little bit. I also have here a good teaspoon of dried yeast, which I'm going to put over this side. Yep, that's all of it. I'm just going to try and blend that together, but I don't want all the salt with the yeast. Just a quick zhuzh with that. Okay, in here I have my milk and water. There's 150 mils of water, 150 mils of milk. Now what I've done is I've just warmed it on the stove, just so it's body temperature, blood temperature. So I'm going to make a well in the centre of my bowl, and I'm going to pour this lovely warm milk in. What we're aiming for here is not a thick dough. We're aiming here for a runny dough, very runny, because we're going to pour this into our moulds or our circles and cook these on a stove top. So I'm just going to whisk this a bit, because I need to make sure I don't have any lumps in here. What we're aiming for is this nice smooth dough. Look at it. Should be quite thick. But not stiff. This will look a lot thicker before we just come to use it. All I'm going to do now is cover this. You can cover it with cling film, whatever you can use. I'm not good with cling film, but this is absolutely ideal. I'm going to leave this now in somewhere nice and warm so that it doubles in size. I'll see you when this has done its job. Well, here's my dough, and this is exactly what it should look like. So I'm just going to knock this back and get rid of all those beautiful bubbles, and then I can pop this to one side. Won't be needing that anymore. Now I've got myself organised. I have a pan heating on a medium heat. I have some rings to make my crumpets. They're just silicone. You could get better ones than that, but that's what I have. I'm going to use my pastry brush and just run a tiny bit of oil over this pan, and then using a little piece of kitchen roll I'm going to take some off, because we're not frying these, but I don't want them to stick. Okay, need to oil my rings and keep these oiled throughout, one at a time. So this is just so the dough doesn't stick to these. I should get 4 in here. This is my smaller frying pan. You can use a bigger one and you might get more in there, which would be quicker when you're batching these. So I've oiled the rings and they're in. Now, using my scoop, I have this set of 3 scoops. They're just regular ice cream scoops, but they come in a set of 3, and I paid under €10 for these, and I've got to tell you, I use them for everything. Anything that needs to be scooped, cakes, you name it, I use these. Right, all I'm going to do is half fill. Well, it's a little bit more than half because these are quite shallow. My 4 rings with this dough mix. And this big ice cream scoop is perfect. It's the perfect amount for mine. You know I'm going to make loads of mess with this, don't you? So far, so good. Oh no, and I went and spoiled it. I can take that off with my bit of kitchen roll. I don't really want it on there. Okay, we're just going to leave these now on a very low heat. And we're going to wait for these for 6 to 8 minutes, just keeping them on this medium heat, because what we don't want to do is completely burn the bottom of these. We want the heat to come up through these and form bubbles on top. You'll know they're done when they look dry, more or less dry, on top. Well, you can see these have grown enormously. And I really must confess, I totally overfilled these. And if you could have seen them, they look like volcanoes with lava coming out everywhere. I mean, you can see here, look, all the bits that I've had to take off. But that's about par for the course with me, I'm afraid. We're drying out nicely. Now, it's quite easy now to shift these round to get the heat where you want it. And I may just turn my heat up a tad. They should cook on medium, but this is a bit of an odd thing to be cooking on, to be honest, and not overly struck, but it's there so that you can see what I'm doing. So they're starting to dry out on top, and can you see these bubbles all starting to appear on the way through? Now I'm going to leave them just a few more minutes until this process is finished and they look nice and dry on top. Then I'm going to be taking them out of the moulds. You can see now that these have really started to dry out. So I'm going to very gingerly give them a tap. Oh, and there's the first one off. I just want these to stop shining on these edges here, so I've moved those into the heat. Now I'm going to leave this one alone for a minute while I wait for these to just finish off, because I don't want them being sticky before I try and lift the rings out. Although this one's going to come off. You can see they're coming off straight away. You can give them a little reshape if you want. I put far too much in this. There's a reason you only half fill these, and I don't always take notice of my own advice. You'll know if they're going to come off because you can see them going at those edges. There you go, there's one. Another one. I've gone right over the edges here, so these are not prettiful. But the next ones will be better. That one's not. This one's not quite ready yet. Right, this one looks about ready now. So just give it a tap till it's. Just try and ease it out. It's coming, but where I've gone over the edges of this, there you go. I've got a funny fluted bit there, so let's just push them back down. When they're completely dry on top, as these two seem to be quite well done, I'm going to flip those over. This one, flip it over, and we're going to cook the top. I'm going to leave those there just for 1 or 2 minutes, just so they brown nicely. Okay, they've had a couple of minutes, and look, looking beautiful. There's one. Let's turn these over. They're starting to look delicious. So how easy is this? Right, Let's see if I can do the next batch better than the first batch. So I've cleaned and oiled these rings. I'm going to pop them in, ready to go. Using my scoop, I'm going to use a little bit less than I did last time. You only want to half fill these. Definitely, that's plenty, because these will grow into big lavary things. Okay, that's plenty. They're starting to go up already, look. Look at that. Halfway. Really, don't go any further than that. They'll be everywhere otherwise. Can you see they're now come to the top of these rings and it gets a bit scary. I'm going to put the heat up a tad, because these didn't do too badly underneath, so I may just put the heat up a tad. Just keep an eye on it. Now I've already got 4 done and dusted, and they'll be beautiful to toast later on. Now these are looking wonderful, really good. They're starting to just pull away from the edges of these rings that I have here. This one's still a little bit damp, which means I probably put a little bit more in than I should have. All we need to do then is lift that out. I'm going to pop that back into my oil. This one looks like it could be ready to go, and it is. You'll know when they're ready to go because they will look really quite dry. This one here is looking very dry. Don't be afraid to move these around your pan. Just going to give them a little shake. And if they don't want to come out, they don't want to come out. If they do, great. There we go. This one may take a tad longer. When these are completely dry on top, there's still holes, lots of holes in here, and I'll show you when we come to do the taste test. Oh, nearly ready, this one. Keep slipping away. Now this one's dry, so I'm going to flip it. That one. And this one. And I'm going to cook these again for 1 to 2 minutes, just to colour the tops. Now this one's not far off done, but it is persistently not coming out. So it's clearly not quite cooked here. You just need to be patient with these. They are very easy to do, very relaxing. And you could even get yourself a little chair up by your cooker and put some music on and have a proper relax while you're waiting for these to cook. Let's see how these are getting on. No colour yet. I'm hoping I haven't turned this off, because that would be me all over, wouldn't it? And here we go, some beautiful colour on those. So they can go on my rack, ready for toasting. Now I'm going to crack on and finish this batch, and I will see you for the taste test in a little while. Well, I carried on and I made my batches of these lovely crumpets. They've already been raided. I made 2 batches. 1 batch from this recipe will make a dozen of these. The only thing I will say is just make sure you don't overfill the rings. I did that with the very first batch that I cooked, and it looked like lava because these grow and it just come up and out and all over the place. So I had to clean those up with a knife. So the first batch were a little bit dodgy. Obviously I learnt my lesson. The second batch was better, much better. And as you're cooking these, you know to adjust the heat, move it around a bit, to get those wonderful little bubbles in there. So we are going for the taste test. Now, I have it on good authority that these taste lovely, because my son has just come out while I was toasting these for the taste test. I toasted 4 for him as well, so he's had his lunch. So here we go. Now they look beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. Oh, very nice. I don't know if you can see where the bubbles have come through these. My mouth is absolutely watering. Beautiful. These will freeze. I've got a batch there of 12. What I will do then is sort of share out with my sons and us how many we want. And then I put little bits of kitchen paper in between each one of these and put them in freeze bags, and then I can just take them out whenever I want them. Don't even need to defrost them, I can just pop them straight into the toaster. And they're there, they're brilliant. They're so much cheaper than buying shop bought, and so much more tasty and healthy. There's no preservatives, nothing. It's just good, honest home baking. And these are so easy to do when you've got a bit of time and a bit of peace and quiet. Get your magazine out, make yourself a cup of coffee, and just sit there and watch these bubble up. It's so relaxing. It's not even like cooking, to be fair. Well, I'm calling these a success. Totally. If you liked what you saw, please like, share, and come and visit me again for some really tasty home cooking. Thank you for watching.